2 weeks ago, I stood before this community and talked about certain behavior that occurs in our schools. This is an example of the kind of behavior that will not be tolerated. That's why we have filed a 15-count criminal complaint against Mr. Garcia, alleging very serious offenses: robbery, sexual assault, battery with intent to commit certain crimes with use of a deadly weapon. This kind of behavior will not be accepted. Our teachers and our school administrators and our staffers need to be safe in our schools. Part of this is sending a message that this kind of violence is not going to be tolerated.
Now, that was Steve Wolfson. He's the Clark County District Attorney involved in the criminal case against 16-year-old Jonathan Martinez Garcia. Now, Garcia faces more than a dozen felony charges stemming from allegations that he brutally beat and sexually assaulted his high school teacher. Police say Garcia approached his teacher about his grades, but at some point he got violent and began punching the victim and strangling her until she lost consciousness. Now, Garcia allegedly fled after the attack, and his teacher was later found by another employee. Garcia was identified and taken into custody shortly after the attack. Well, now, Garcia was being held on a $500,000 bond, but on Monday, a judge reduced that bail amount to $100,000 and granted Garcia release from custody with high-level electronic monitoring. And Garcia is also to stay away from the victim and the school. All right, let's bring back in the think tank to discuss. Still criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy, former prosecutor Nima Romani, and the attorney who represented Jodi Arias and the author of book series Trapped with Ms. Arias, Kirk Nurmi. Kirk, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on his release. Again, everyone's entitled to bail. You can't just throw someone in jail. They're innocent until proven guilty. We know that. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you know, immediately when I started looking into this case, I started thinking about Cleotha Henderson, the man who was accused of killing Eliza Fisher in Memphis. Now, he was released, vastly different circumstances, but to me, it's really troubling when we talk about reducing a bond of this nature, given the type of attack. I mean, now we're putting potential victims out there again, leaving him in a situation where he could re-victimize this woman again. So I had real qualms with the judge lowering the bond in this case. Yes, he's entitled to one, but given the nature of the charges, I believe there's over a dozen serious felony charges. This is a long-term prison sentence that is awaiting this young man, and I don't see how pretrial release is warranted in any sense of justice in this case at this point in time.
Yeah, he's facing 2 to 20 on the attempted murder charge, and of course all the other charges as well carry hefty sentences. Nevada, when they look at bail, they look at ties to the community, seriousness of the crime, danger to the community, likelihood of more crime, prior record, any other factors including age. Nima, there's a discussion going on in Nevada regarding bail and bail reform. The idea that people without money are more victimized by the bail system because the bail's unattainable. And that's exactly what the judge said here. He reduced it to $100,000 because the $500,000 he thought was unattainable for someone in Garcia's position. Your thoughts on that whole aspect of the case?
You know, I really disagree with bail reform, Michael. I understand the argument. People that don't have money, they're in custody. They're pressured to plead guilty because they're already serving time. But let me tell you the other side. As a prosecutor, when a defendant is out of custody, it's much more difficult to get him or her to accept a plea offer. They're much more likely to obviously commit other crimes because they're out. And who's going to admit to committing a crime to go into custody? So look, a case like this, when you're analyzing bail, we talked about the factors, but there's 2 big ones: risk of flight, danger to the community. He's a flight risk. He's already fled. He's a danger to the community. He tried to kill his teacher, and he sexually assaulted her. I mean, it's so hard to find good teachers in this country. Now they're at risk of being attacked by their students because they give a bad grade. This bail is unconscionable, Michael. It's way too low. And I don't like judges reducing the bail simply because someone can't afford to pay. It's not right when the charges are as serious as they are here. I completely agree with Kirk on this one.
Eklund, I'd love to get you to ring in on this. Again, we have to remember he is electronically monitored. He has been told to stay away from, and they'll know where he is if he goes anywhere near the school, anywhere near this teacher. But on the other hand, as Nima says, this was a very serious crime, and it involved a teacher. You know, that has to tug at the heartstrings.
And it's a very serious crime. However, he is innocent until proven otherwise. So as right now, he is walking around innocent of any crime. So yes, he is charged. He absolutely has the right to bail. In a case this major, you actually need your client to be out so you can really just help provide competent and zealous representation. And the two major factors here is that he is a minor. He's a minor. So that diminishes his culpability. It diminishes a lot of things. And it definitely does not, if he's in custody, you're definitely not going to get help with defense. And he has the ankle monitor. I don't know if you know that ankle monitors are very expensive. So he's not getting off scotch-free. He's not, the pretrial release is going to be making sure that he knows, that they know where he is at all times. But most importantly, we have to remember he is innocent until proven otherwise, and he is absolutely a juvenile. And for somebody to commit these types of crimes, it's not to him. We need to know why. We need to figure out what's happening with these young men and why do they feel that violence is an answer. So I believe that him being out on bond is actually, I think it is reasonable. It's not $50,000. It's $100,000. It's not $500. It's not $500,000, but it's still a six-figure that he may or may not be able to make.
And quickly, there is a mental component to this case. He said he heard voices. He didn't know why he did it. He actually liked that teacher, but he didn't like other teachers and was getting revenge in some way. His mom said that he was having issues with depression. So there is a mental component. He was found competent to stand trial. But again, they did find issues, and apparently the defense is going to seek an independent evaluation of him as well. So a lot more to go in that.